Hello everyone, welcome to NnN Novel Time. Today I'm going to read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 5, Part 3, Diagon Alley. Something really extraordinary had to be inside this top security vault. Harry was sure, and he leaned forward eagerly, expecting to see fabulous jewels at the very last. But at first he thought it was empty. Then he had noticed a grubby little package wrapped in a brown paper lying on the floor. Hagrid picked it up and tucked it deep inside his coat. Harry longed to know what it was, but knew better than to ask. Come on, back in this infertile cart, and don't talk to me on the way back. It's best if I keep my mouth shut, said Hagrid. On a wild cart ride later, they stood blinking at the sunlight outside Gringotts. Harry didn't know where to run first now. They had a bag full of money. He didn't have to know how many galleons there were to a pound to know he was holding more money than he'd ever had in his whole life. More money than even Dudley had ever had. Might as well get your uniform, said Hagrid, nodding towards Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions. Listen, Harry, would you mind if I slipped to pick me up in the leaky cauldron? I hate them Gringotts carts. He still did look a bit sick, so Harry entered Madame Malkin's shop alone, feeling nervous. Madame Malkin was a squat, smiling witch dressed in all mauve. Hogwarts, dear, she said. When Harry started to speak, got the lot here. Another young man being fitted just now, in fact. In the back of the shop, a boy with a pale, pointed face was standing on a footstool while the second witch had pinned up his long black robes. Madame Malkin stood Harry on a stool next to him, slipped a long robe over his head, and began to pin it to the right length. Hello, said the boy. Hogwarts too? Yes, said Harry. My father next door is buying my books, and my mother's up the street looking at wands, said the boy. He had a bored, drawling voice. Then I'm going to drag them off to look at racing brooms. I don't see why first years can't have their own. I think I'll bully father into getting me one, and I'll smuggle it somehow. Harry was strongly reminded of Dudley. Have you got your own room? The boy went on. No, said Harry. Play Quidditch at all? No, said Harry again, wondering what on earth Quidditch could be. I do. Father says it's a crime if I'm not picked to play for my house. And I must say, I agree. Know what house you'll be put in? No, said Harry, feeling more stupid by the minute. Well, no one really knows until they get there. Do they? But I know I'll be in Slytherin. All our family have been. Imagine being in Hufflepuff. I think I'd leave, won't you? Said Harry, wishing he could say something a bit more interesting. I say, look at the man, said the boy, suddenly nodding towards the front window. Hagrid was standing there, grinning at Harry, pointing at two large ice creams to show he couldn't come in. That's Hagrid, said Harry, pleased to know something the boy didn't. He works at Hogwarts. Oh, said the boy, I've heard of him. He's a sort of servant, isn't he? He's the gamekeeper, said Harry. He was liking the boy less and less every second. Yes, exactly. I heard he's a sort of savage. Lives in a hut in the school grounds, and every now and then gets drunk, tries to do magic, and ends up setting fire to his bed. I think he's brilliant, said Harry coldly. Do you? Said the boy, with a slight sneer. Why is he with you? Where are your parents? They're dead, said Harry shortly. He didn't feel much like going into the matter with this boy. Oh, sorry, said the other, not sounding sorry at all. But they were our kind, weren't they? They were a witch and wizard, if that's what you mean. I really don't think they should let the other sort in, do you? They're just not the same. They've never been brought up to know our ways. Some of them have never even heard of Hogwarts until they got the letter. Imagine. I think they should keep it in the old wizarding families. What's your surname anyway? Before Harry could answer, Madame Malkin said, "That's you done, my dear." And Harry, not sorry for an excuse to stop talking to the boy, hopped down from the footstool. "Well, I'll see you at Hogwarts, I suppose," said the drawling boy. Harry was rather quiet as he ate the ice cream Hagrid had bought it, chocolate and raspberry with chopped nuts. "What's up?" said Hagrid. "Nothing," Harry lied. They stopped to buy parchment and quills. Harry cheered up when he found a bottle of ink that changed color as he wrote. When they had left the shops, he said, "Hagrid, what's Quidditch?" "Believe me, Harry, I keep forgetting how little you know, not knowing about Quidditch." "Don't make me feel worse," said Harry. He told to Hagrid about the pale boy in Madame Malkin's, and he said people from Muggle families shouldn't even be allowed in. "You're not from a Muggle family, I've heard. If he'd know who you were, he's grown up unknowing your name if his parents are wizard folk. You saw him in the Leaky Cauldron. Anyway, what does he know about it?" "Some of the best I ever saw, the only ones with magic, and a long time of muggles. Look at your mum. Look what she had for a sister. So what's Quidditch?" "It's a sport, wizard sport. It's like football in the muggle world. Everyone follows Quidditch. Played up in the air on broomsticks, and there are four balls. Sort of hard to explain the rules." "And what are Slytherin and Hufflepuff?" "Schoolhouses. There are four. Everyone says Hufflepuff are a lot of duffers, but I bet I'm in Hufflepuff," said Harry gloomily. "Better Hufflepuff than Slytherin," said Hagrid darkly. "There's not a single witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin. You know who was one. You know who was at Hogwarts?" "Years and years ago," said Hagrid. They bought Harry's school books in a shop called Flourish and Blots, where the shelves are stacked to the ceiling with books as large as paving stones bound in a leather. Books the size of postage stamps in covers of silk. Books full of particular symbols, and a few books with nothing in them at all. Even Dudley, who never read anything, would have been wild to get his hands on some of these. Hagrid almost had to drag Harry away from curses and counter-curses. Witch your friends and beeflet your enemies with the latest revenges. Hair loss, jelly legs, tongue tying, and much, much more. By Professor Windicott's Viridian. I was trying to find out how to curse Dudley. I'm not saying that's not a good idea, but you're not to use magic in the Muggle world. Except it's very special circumstances, said Hagrid. And anyway, you couldn't work out any of the curses yet. You'll need lots more study before you get to that level. Hagrid wouldn't let Harry buy a solid golden cauldron either. It says Peter on your list, but they got a nice set of skills for weighing potions, ingredients, and a collapsible brass telescope. Then they visited the apothecary, which was fascinating enough to make up for its horrible smell, a mixture of bad eggs and rotten cabbages. Barrels of slimy stuff stood on the floor, jars of herbs and dried roots and bright powders lined the walls. Bundles of feathers, strings of fangs, and snarled claws hung from the ceiling. While Hagrid asked the man behind the counter for a supply of some basic potion ingredients for Harry himself explained the silver unicorn horns at 21 galleons each in minuscule. Glittery black beetle eyes, 5 nuts a scoop. Outside the apothecary, Hagrid checked Harry's list again. Just your one left? Oh yeah. And I still haven't got you a birthday present. Harry felt himself go red. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. Tell you what, I'll get you an animal. Not a toad. Toads went out of fashion years ago. You'd be laughed at. And I don't like cats. They make me sneeze. I get you an owl. All the kids want owl. They're dead useful. Carry your post and everything. 20 minutes later, they left envelopes, owl's importum, which had been dark and full of rustling and flickering drill-blind eyes. Harry now carried a large cage which held a beautiful snowy owl fast asleep, her head under her wing. He couldn't stop stammering his thanks, sounding just like Professor Quirrell. Don't mention it, said Hagrid gruffly. Don't expect you've had a lot of presents from the Dursleys. Just Ollivanders left now. One only place for wands, Ollivanders, and you've got to have the best wand, a magic wand. This was what Harry had been really looking forward to. The large shop was narrow and shabby. Peeling gold letters over the door, reading Ollivanders, makers of fine wands since 382 BCA. Single wand lay on the faded purple cushion with the dusty window. A tinkling bell rang somewhere in the deeps of the shop as they stepped inside. It was a tiny place, empty, except for a single spinning chair which Hagrid sat on to wait. Harry felt swallow a lot of new questions which had just occurred to him, and looked instead of at 1,000 narrow boxes piled neatly right up to the ceiling. For some reason, the back of his neck prickled. The very dust in the silence in here seemed to tingle with some secret magic. Good afternoon, said a soft voice. Harry jumped. Hagrid must have jumped too, because there was a loud crushing noise, and got quickly off the spindly chair. An old man was standing before them, his wide, pale eyes shining like moons through the gloom of the shop. Hello, said Harry awkwardly. Ah, yes, said the man. Yes, I thought I'd be seeing you soon. Harry Potter, it wasn't a question. You have your mother's eyes. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you like it. After a few days, I'll be reading part 4. This is the first time we're coming to part 4, but Diagon Alley is like a really big chapter, so I have to do a part 4. I hope that will be the last part before I start the next chapter. Please subscribe. Bye.